Good evening, peeps. I'm Andrew, or One Star Peeps. Tonight we have the finals of GMI 2019 Adaptive Prime Championship. On our left we have Kevin and Gorlami from Team Rebound piloting Doctor and Minawave versus Dangle the Baller 53 with his terrible Mourningeate of Malcontent's Chaos. As we said before, Dangle here has brought a reversal deck, and Kevin on our left, the first time we've seen him today on stream, is playing this awesome, amazing 76 SAS Worlds Collide, basically the holy trinity of Worlds Collide, Logos, Star Alliance, and Saurian deck. Let's go over his, because we haven't seen him yet before. Cool, great card, double Igor, Eddie. Hologram opponents are super important, I think, are really good cards. Also, Titan Guardian, lots of card draw inside the Logos. And then on the Star Alliance side, we get even more card draw, more efficiency in Book, Powers, Lay of the Land, Universal Translator plus Chan, also a lot of house cheating, a little bit of Amber Control, Assessor Chief, Quadricorder, Stunner. So this is probably just going to be a super one-sided game 1 and super one-sided game 2. It's going to really come down to the chain bidding in game 3. So we're gonna take a quick, we're gonna watch the game 1 and 2. See if we can get a better feel for how the matchup's going to go in game 3, how many chains we want to bid. We gotta really pay attention to how consistent Kevin's deck is and how try and get an idea of how much of an advantage does Mourningeate of the Malcontent's Chaos need to become like a 50-50 matchup, or what are we gonna do? Also, sorry, I just noticed the Imperial Road also in Kevin's list is just a more card advantage or speed or efficiency. Sorry, efficiency. Flophosaurus. This deck just draws a whole bunch. It's going to take a lot of chains to slow down this deck to basically even it out. Baseline, you just need a bunch just to like make up for how much card draw this has. Daniel's deck does have a lot more, or not necessarily a lot more creatures, but bigger creatures. Yeah, just thanks to the Provenance stuff. So it's going to be important in game 3 for the matchups to happen. For Daniel to get a lot of creatures on the board and maintain board control. So Daniel goes first in this game, starts off with a Punctuate Equilibrium. Kevin properly discards his hand. You can kind of see it down here. Not sure if that's showing up on there. No, it's not showing. Down here at the bottom. Oh my god. You can see this discard. He's going to pick up in just a second. Quite quiet for a second. You can hear them trying to figure out how to fix the fact that Kevin accidentally started shuffling his deck. It's late. This game took place, I want to say at midnight or 1 a.m. So I don't blame them for this. I don't blame them for being too lost or confused. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh man, it was just like immediate reaction.
Yeah,
I get that.
What are we looking for here? So they just got to shuffling's probably not that big a deal. They're not changing the order. It's a random deck anyways. So the second I think they're just going to continue to go on with it. Kevin's hands clearly discarded, drawing 6 random cards from the top of your deck versus drawing 6 random cards from the top of your deck after you shuffled is essentially the same thing. So long as Kevin's hand wasn't shuffled into the deck, there's no difference really.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. I'm just like...
It's unfortunate that small thing happens, but I don't think it's that big a deal. So that is Daniel's turn 1. I always happy to see a early Punctuate Equilibrium. Kevin draws into Book plus Zap. First one on the board, first bit of Amber, Book, huge amount of card draw, hopefully coming up. What can Daniel? So interesting thing. So Kevin and Daniel played during the Swiss rounds. Unfortunately, we didn't capture it. So Kevin could maybe intentionally throw some Book, like misuse Book a couple times to like make the matchup seem worse. Hopefully, give Daniel a bad read on it. Even though they played once before. It's been a long day, long night. Maybe it's a little extra. Anyways, wow, Daniel is just blazing through his own deck. He drew into a huge amount of Montane cards. Regrowth, unfortunately, just was worth an Amber. Key Charge, unfortunately got discarded, but Mustic, Murmuk, Tantadolin, and Gabuk came down. Is to Kevin, he plays, I forget, Diplomacy is my guess, until his next turn, and whenever a creature fights it gets exalted. And then he follows up with a Thero Centurion, Perfectus Ludo, and a Chant of Hubris to move the captured Amber over to Daniel's Tantadolin. Interesting choice. It's not an easily destroyed creature with the Thero Centurion, but I guess it's the one that could attack the most and capture the most often. Alright, so Gabuk fights into Ludo. And Kevin's reminding Daniel of the Diplomacy.
Let's do it this way. It's gonna go untapped. Let's play that here.
And they're just making it happen.
Okay, I'll exalt.
So basically Kevin gains 1 amber, but
so before fight,
Daniel also gains 1 amber off of the map of the mad there.
So next turn. So until the
not
start of the next
necessarily,
turn,
it's probably a
each
pretty good
creature gains
trade.
before fight, exalt this creature.
Happy everyone gets 1.
If you're fighting,
Daniel gets rid of an important creature from Kevin's deck. Molten Reaps and Mustic Murmuk Reaps.
And then reap for 2.
And that looks like that.
That card is broken.
which one?
Alright, so back to Kevin.
Everybody thinks it's really bad, actually.
Yeah, there's just
It's good.
Daniel's
when-
board. Daniel just has a lot of creatures, and it makes it probably feel the game actually feel a lot closer than it really is.
So, and they want to kill like important creatures.
It's easy for the game to turn around if we have a bunch of creatures and you just reap a whole bunch. Off the Igor, Kevin discards 2, looks like upgrades, I think, from Saurian, Ideal plus Imperial Scutum.
Top 3.
Which might be unfortunate. I think the Scutum is important,
Take that.
and maybe even the Ideal. Sticking the Ideal on the Centurion might be really good, really strong, although Daniel has a lot of creatures here that could fight. Igor number 2 comes down, discards a Quantrino Flux plus another card. I'm sorry, it's that one. Wow. And Kevin here is just building up a huge board. Or, well, playing a bunch of cards. This board is equal in terms of number of creatures. And the Twin Bolt is going to help a little bit here. Start clearing off of Daniel's board. Interesting to put the 2 damage on the Mustic there instead of the Molten. The Molten's going to be the most difficult one to attack into, considering it's hazardous. 3, I want to say. So I would personally I like to start stacking damage on things I don't want to attack, just in case I can find a little extra bit here or there. But check out Kevin's list, maybe there's a Positron Bolt or something. That will take care of it later.
It's really bad.
Alright, Harbinger of Doom, Exhume, and Dendrix come down for Daniel.
Okay,
Exhume's Mab the Mad gains 2 Ember essentially. Not a bad choice. This is again Daniel's playing this Harbinger out when I guess the board's pretty even. It gives Kevin a nice opportunity here to fight with the Titan Guardian if he wanted to and draw a couple cards, clear the board. Decides to go Starlines, plays a Tin Can, Chan, and something else. Unfortunately missed it. Lay the Land goes up to 6, not quite in check, is the Mustic, but gets to look at the top 3 cards and then draw a card. What am I trying? Oh, this is great. So this is awesome. So he gets this Lay the Land here is gonna draw 1 card, and then he gets to set up the top of his deck, and he knows he can almost guarantee that book is gonna hit the house that he wants it to. Not necessarily, it's gonna hit. It's not gonna hit Starlines unless the top 3 cards are all Starlines, but he gets to set up a better shot at picking either Logos or Saurian. You may not have an option here. It might be like Starlines, Saurian, or something like that. Alright, so he books, and he reveals the top card of his deck, and he chose Logos. Okay, so there's a hologram up on top of his deck, and now he gets to use all of his Logos creatures. And play out. It's basically Logos' turn now. He plays a creature on the top, a second creature on the top.
But you can only play Helper once in that loop unless you have like Twin Bolt.
And then Igor. So he doesn't plan on fighting into the Harbinger this turn. He's gonna make Daniel take that. Alright, Igor fights Mustic, great. Puts him into check. Alright, looks like he played a 5, another Titan Guardian, and he reaps twice, goes to 8, and something else. Ends his turn. Not a bad turn. He's just gonna Yeah.
Fight with
Your
Ivor
guard
there.
redraw it.
And a daughter. Okay, so Kevin's gonna drop the 7 cards here.
And I
And
will.
Devon's really pressured. I like this. Devon's pressured a lot to clear the board.
In his loop.
Oh wow. So that last card, the last Starlines card there at the bottom is a CXO Tappers. So Kevin has built up a board of
The turn there.
several really
I will
powerful
call
creatures,
check at 8,
Tappers,
and
Centurion, Chan,
7
and Daughter.
cards for daughter.
While Daniel's board is pretty minimal.
6.
Alright, cool. Daniel here is taking advantage of his Molten by picking a house that is not on the board yet. So because Kevin steals 1, the Molten deals 1 damage to everything.
Deal 1 damage.
If he can sneakily cause Kevin to steal again, he could clear out a lot of his board.
Okay, so no damage, 1 damage.
Molten
No damage.
is an interesting card. Looks like a Fire Breath on Molten, so he's planning on holding out. Maybe he's planning on to use a strategy for a lot of the game to keep that. So he wants to keep the Molten alive. Played some card up there. Can't quite make it out. Molten fights. Okay, Molten fights into Titan Guardian. Fire Breath kills the daughter. Puts on 2 more damage on the Chan. Kills the Titan Guardian. Oh wow, this is actually, I forgot the before fight. Sorry, the Fire Breath is before fight, so the daughter dies before the Titan Guardian does, so Kevin doesn't get to draw cards. That's actually super bit. That's nice. It's a nice little advantage.
He'll take 2. Nice
Play there by Daniel. Okay, so Volcano now comes down, clears the board,
Take.
except for this Titan Guardian is gonna live.
Okay, so he's gonna take.
It's going to clear out pretty much everything that that Daniel's worried about. Centurion, Centurion and Guardian are the only things gonna live. Daniel doesn't, or Kevin doesn't draw any cards off of his Guardians. Harbinger of Doom is now still on the board.
Well, no, this will take 4.
So all the cards that
4. This will take.
all the cards that Daniel wants on the board are on the board, and all the cards that he doesn't want on the board are pretty much removed at this point. There's just a couple of big creatures, and now he controls the board. I guess it's gonna be on Kevin. It's kind of forcing Kevin to fight into the Harbinger now, if he wants to clear the board. But Daniel's creatures are are spread out between all of his houses. He's got 2 1 and 1, so there's not a lot of incentive for Kevin to blow things up. The delta is 1 essentially. So Daniel can't pull too far ahead. Kevin did forge his first key. He's up and has 3 amber remaining. Alright, so he goes into Logos with a Hologramophone. We knew he drew. Hologramophone number 2. Alright, he's just going to keep bursting amber. This is part of the value of having a good deck. Well, you just have a lot of extra printed amber. You just play your card to gain amber while developing your board. Plays an Eddy, gets to archive a card. Titan Guardian reaps. Titan Guardians is, again, no longer on a flank. So if Daniel wants to blow up the Harbinger, Kevin gets to draw 2 cards. Also, if Daniel doesn't pull the trigger now and blow up the Guardian, doesn't pull the trigger now and use the Harbinger or whatever to blow up the Guardian, Kevin could easily go back into Logos and start putting wards on all of his creatures, making it extremely difficult for Daniel to deal with. Alright, so Daniel looks like he's gone back into Brobnar. Uses Flamethrower to basically add 1 to remove all the armor and put 1 point of damage on Eddy. That is a Stiltkin up there. Stiltkin fights Stiltkin fights. Kevin gets to draw 2 cards. Plays Cybernetic Rig or whatever, Cybergenic Rig, heals Gengar Chieftain. Gengar Chieftain gets 4 +1 power counters here, 9 power Guardian, 9 power Gengar Chieftain, comes in and fights, or I think he might be reaping here. Yep, goes to reap. That's great. It doesn't have no real fight effect. Daniel just needs to catch up here on Amber. Kevin's gonna forge his 2nd key. Not really too worried about the Centurion, and I guess the Eddy is... I'm not sure. Maybe killing the Eddy there would have been a good idea. Basically, it's going to cost someone Amber, or he reaps and goes up to 7, essentially. It nets about the same amount of Amber, and Kevin has now the opportunity to archive more cards to make it more expensive for Daniel to forge.
Draw 2 for the Titan Guardian.
Alright, yeah, so Kevin forges the second key here. And I would imagine Daniel has at least 6 amber. Fortunately, I guess I pulled the camera in too close, as we might have noticed by now. Not quite catching everything.
No, thanks.
No, like this, it hasn't. Like after I rolled, it's done. But I know.
This is the weirdest I've
Alright, so back to Kevin. What is Kevin gonna do? I like, he hasn't called Saurian in a couple turns. Alright, so more logos. Okay. So if he gets to ward up both his creatures, he might play another creature to ward up. I forget. I don't remember yet. I don't think he has a second daughter. But alright, Twin Bolt comes down, gets one of his amber, the captured amber on the Chanted Hubris amber, plus gets rid of the Stiltkin. Nice little 2-for-1 there. Gain 2 amber essentially. Not a bad play. Alright, let's see the card that triggered the Shorty fight was, or sorry, the Stiltkin fight was Shorty. Kevin reaps with Eddie. Hologramophone onto Eddie plus Wild Wormhole. Oh, this is cool. What does he get to play? Quantrino Flux. Wow, nice heads up play there. Being very aware that Quantrino Flux, this is probably the card that he's most worried about hitting off of the Wild Wormhole. He can, but he did mitigate it well by using the Hologramophone here. Or maybe not. He actually, none of his creatures share power with his opponent's creatures. Alright, he chooses 2s and 6s, so which blows up the board. Okay, cool, great. Clears the board, clears his ward. But, yeah, so that worked out well. Quantrino Flux did his job, Eddie's still alive. Daniel is now barely behind on board. Daughter number 2 comes down. And Ward's daughter. Oh, okay. Decides to ward Eddie here. Valuing the amber control more than the card.
Oh, yes, I do.
It does have elusive, so maybe that's what he's worried about. Daniel has called Brobnar twice in a row, so it's very unlikely for Daniel to flamethrower here to pop the ward, which would be very beneficial, but he probably just does not have the Brobnar cards here. Alright, so Daniel forges for 7. Looks like all of his amber. First key, and Kevin is about to needs one more turn basically to go and check for his third key. Alright, this, Dinosaur Bane, Soul Fiddle, not finished with you to get back. Looks like nothing. Lilithal, alright, that's it. He did play a large number of cards here, so Daniel's been drawing really well, it feels like. Most of this game playing like 3 or, at least, it feels like 3 cards almost every single turn. 3 cards plus every single turn. Although, despite that, it's not even close. I mean, that's definitely what we expect from this matchup. Alright, so Kevin has at least 2 amber on board by reaping, although the Lilithal will get to capture 1, so he needs to go up to 7 unless he has a way to remove it. He's hoping to find probably at least 1 more amber pip, just a nice little action. Daughter, number 2 comes down. Reap twice, goes up to 6. Maybe he doesn't have the ability to wards everything. Maybe he didn't have the ability to go higher than 6. So playing up the daughter sounds great. Increases key cost by archiving card off of Tau Tau Vapors.
Reap twice.
I can't get the emotion on this game. It's so fucking obnoxious.
And he draws up to 8 cards now. Everything's warded.
My 2 daughters.
Daniel needs some amber control, and that basically, if I remember right, Daniel has, what, the Mustic Rembooks? Just 1 or 2? Alright. Soul Fiddle enrages a daughter. So he pulls Kevin off the check. Ops a ward. With a Draining Touch, and Kevin's at 5. So if Kevin wants to go into logos again, we could totally reasonably do that. Probably going Starlines here. Goes to 6. Oh, maybe not. He does no Starlines this game. That looks like actually Saurian. Regrettable Meteor. Imperial Road. Ludo? I think is next on that list. Or, sorry, Ludo. Dilophosaurus. So this definitely feels like I still have all of these kind of play. He's going up to 8.
Play Regrettable Meteor for the amber.
And he ends his turn. Oh, no.
Full
Sorry.
road.
Goes up to 9.
Play Ludo. And source.
Failing strikes to kill Lilithal. There we go. That's what's going on. And ends his turn at 10 amber and 2 keys. Daniel doesn't really have anything to do. Doesn't have a good response to that.
1, 2, 3,
And
4, 5. Kill that.
there it is.
That I will not
Alright.
exalt.
Good job, Kevin, on winning game 1. And let's go see what happens when we get to game 2.
Time limit on this round, so.
I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick.
Alright, so let's get ready for game 2. I'm excited. Gonna switch decks. This is adaptive. I don't know what to expect. Well, obviously we expect Kevin to lose this next one and Daniel to win, because Daniel will be piloting Doctor and Minawave, and Kevin will be piloting Mourningeate of the Malcontent's Chaos. Quadricorder. Oh yeah, they take a break here. Yep. Alright, so do a little editing. We're jumping to the beginning of game 2. So the players come down, come back to the bench after bio break, plus collect their thoughts. This is the finals. It's not really, there is no time limit to it. Although it is, at this point, like 1 a.m. Both players would be happy to be going home soon. Kevin lives about 2 hours from here where this took place, and I think Daniel's maybe about an hour out.
Really well today when I play other people's decks. So, hopefully.
So they're getting ready for this game 2. Not sure what to expect.
Yeah.
Or I'm not. So what we see from game 1, that's important. There was the Daniel's volcano, Mourningeate's volcano was pretty impactful. Here we go. Deck list has popped up for us. Let's see. So I really liked how Daniel managed to keep the Harbingers of Doom on board and always being a threat while controlling the board through other ways. Although it did backfire that one time off the wild wormhole into Quadrino Flux. I'm not sure if that's going to interested to see how Kevin plays with the Harbingers of Doom.
I felt like did he have a Shatterstorm?
Definitely looking, if I were him, I'm definitely looking for the big,
get rid of all your amber.
Sorry, the big volcano plays, minus the Titan Guardian. So there's Titan Guardians, Effectus Ludo, and the Centurion. And I think that's it for creatures on Kevin, or in Doctor and Minawave that would survive a volcano. If that comes before the hologramophones start deploying a bunch of wards, then that'll be great. The flamethrower also going to be and sorry, the fire breathing are going to be big on getting rid of those wards. Punctuate equilibrium. Not sure. I'm always happy to see one. It helps me draw and kind of ruins my opponent's plans. So it's good work. Dinosaur Bane could be big here, considering the Saurians do exist. And what else is there that we need to think about? Exhume could do some good work. Let's see. Double Cauldron, Boil, Volcano, maybe. The one Mustic Murmuk. So out of hand, Amber Control, Mustic Murmuk, I think, like I said, was it for this deck. After that, it's the 2 Lilithals, and is that about it? Yeah, it looks like that's about it. Key Charge could be a nice surprise win that you could aim for. Alright, so we see 2 Harbingers of Doom in Kevin's opening hand. And he decides to keep this. Interesting. I like it. Lilithal plus 2 Harbingers. Dendrix. This is just going to be a big dishand, and he's going to just hopefully use this as an ability to just reap for a couple turns and try and pull ahead as much as possible. Maybe control the board. Alright, there's an early hologramophone, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult for the Volcano to do work. Plus Daughter, Titan Guardian, Wild Wormhole. Alright, 4 cards at least. Eddie. Wow, nice. This is a strong opening out of Daniel. Or strong opening for Daniel. Alright. 2 Amber. And 4 permanents on the board. So Kevin is now staring at those Titan Guardians, or sorry, the Harbingers and being like, and probably pretty happy to have them. Let's see what else could be coming around. Plays a card, gains an amber.
7, right?
You should be at 7. Yeah. Sulfit.
Wilthal. Or sorry, Sulfiddle.
Play.
Harbinger number 1. Oh, okay. So he decided. Sorry, he didn't play a card to gain amber. He reaped with Dendrix. He's just gonna.
Drain touch.
Oh, okay.
Everything.
Draining touches to clear the board. So yeah. Plays Lilith. Great. Harbinger number 2, just in case Daniel decides to have a nice turn again. I mean, what's he gonna do? Not play it? Kevin does need to reap probably as much as possible. Having creatures on the board is important. Alright, Lay of the Land. So no good Lay of the Land book tricks from Daniel this game, but he might get another chance after he gets to shuffle the deck, because Dr. and Minawave is just such an efficient deck. Looks like there's a quadricorder in hand. Draws a card. Alright, CXO. Alright, just so Kincan, Garcia, quadricorder. Alright, so none of these creatures are big enough for. Ooh, plus the probably Universal Translator. I think that's the only other upgrade. So on 5 more cards, basically 6 Starlands cards. So wow, Dangle is on fire. This deck is drawing super good right now. I mean, the daughter did draw an extra card, so he was at 7 to begin with, and then Lay of the Land helped set up, but that's still really good. So Kevin is probably needs to find a way to I don't know, if I were Kevin, I'd want to find a way to get Daniel to build up the board more. Alright, so the Harbinger is going to blow up a lot, but here comes a Punctuated Equilibrium, kind of undo Daniel's hand. It would have been nice after he removing the daughter, could have killed the daughter. Oh, whatever, that's added extra. Oh, he forgot the King Can, so that's going on. Daniel steals 1 from King Can because Kevin picked Untamed, Molfin, and Gabuk plus another creature. So that is card for card.
Forge at 6, unfortunately for me.
Alright. That was huge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 untamed cards for Kevin. So somehow he's keeping up on board. Well, not necessarily somehow. We can see how it's happening. It's up to Daniel on what he's going to do here. He could fight a couple of his creatures into Harbinger here to keep the board to clear the board. Kevin will probably get a creature off the Kabuk. Alright, zap for 1, 2, 3. Alright. Puts 3 points of damage into Harbinger. Reaps with King Can. Probably not long for this world. Oh, okay, so sorry, there's no quadricorders. Those are both of the Universal Translators. Please book. Question is, alright, CXO fights here.
And then his fight ability wouldn't work because he didn't survive.
Wipes the board.
I'll activate Kabuks.
Yeah.
So, does Halfline stay alive, right?
Yeah.
Is it Harbinger? Is it After?
Alright, so Gabuk is. Alright, so Gabuk plays a Calfiend for Kevin.
That's it.
And that ends Daniel's turn.
Oh, yeah, so you don't care.
Interesting choices there. I would have liked using CXO to play use the hologramophone. So reap with CXO, use hologramophone, or even fight if you really wanted to fight, and then zap it later. But anyways, use hologramophone to protect one of your creatures from the Harbinger there. But either way, Kevin decides. All right, Kevin goes Dis. Doesn't have to worry about King Can. Uses it to gain 2 amber, just like Daniel did in the last game. He's at his 3rd amber for the game, or 4th if you want to count the one that was stolen earlier. Meanwhile, Daniel is at a key and a half, so he's halfway to the finish line.
No, I'd actually go back draw.
Will one of the 2 little thalls, or this might be I think this is the second little thal. So There's not a lot of Amber control left. All Daniel has to do is
Let's go with Starlines.
reap a full bunch or play cards. It doesn't really matter. He's gonna get there pretty quickly.
Play
Katrina Flux kills 5s. Sounds good.
Just do yellow.
Yellow?
Yeah.
Book happens.
Book of IQ.
Book reveals a Imperial Road, and so Daniel now is active house is now Saurian.
Let's play Chant.
Chant gains 1 Amber.
Play another one.
Chant number 2 gains a 2nd Amber.
Discard.
Discards Diplomacy, unfortunately, because it's alpha. So he doesn't quite get to check, but that would have been awesome.
Play.
Alright, so back to Kevin. Kevin looks like a Brobnar turn. Lower obstacle. I guess that's some Amber control. Prevents reaping. Narp. Great. Fire breathing on Narp. This is a big, big Narp. 11 power Narp with 1 armor. Kevin just needs to... So Kevin doesn't have a lot of fighting options left, basically. Or he doesn't have a lot of read. It needs to read. And unfortunately, this lower obstacle is going to make things a little difficult for that. If he ever wants to, he can just go into Brobnar and fight with the obstacle. But if he does that, it's going to move the map, the man next to the Narp, and then it won't be able to reap to put itself back into... doesn't matter. Daniel has a Twin Bolt, removes both of the 2 power creatures from Kevin's side of the board, gains an Amber while he's at it. Tau Vapors draws 2 cards and archives 1. Daniel is now in check if he were to end his turn here, but he's still got more work to do.
Reach for Amber whenever I play Tau.
And Kevin's still struggling to get his first key.
Because of flop work.
Yeah.
So, how can Kevin catch up to this game? Daughter plus hologram phone, perfect. Or, well, very difficult for Kevin to deal with. At least he does have the fire breathing, so wards aren't that big of an issue.
Check.
Daniel's almost incentivized not to play another creature here. I mean, he does not. I'm not sure if he had the ability to.
Untamed?
Because Daughter is elusive, the fire breathing only hits neighbors. That ward is actually cannot be popped by just the Narp. Alright, well. Mustic Murmuk, here's the last bit of Amber control. Cauldron Void, it's nothing, but gains Kevin some Amber.
I'm gonna
Discards Key Charge, unfortunately. I think he really needs... Well, it doesn't... The deck doesn't have a lot of Amber in it, so the Key Charge probably is very unlikely to hit. But it would be a nice way to pull out a surprise victory, although I'm sure Daniel is very aware of the Key Charge. Alright, so over to Daniel. Back into Saurian, Library of Palosaurus, Imperial Road, and a Dilophosaurus. Alright, so now the Narp can fight the Dilophosaurus. Ooh, alright, so failing strike
Deal 2. Okay.
does 2 to Mustic and exalts the Dilophosaurus. There is the library there, but I don't think it's long for this world. Puts, I think that's an Imperial Scutum. So now it has 4 power and 2 armor, and when it is destroyed, the Amber on it goes back to the common supply. I think that's still a nice juicy Narp fight target. It will kill the Dilophosaurus, which is very important. Removes the Amber so that the Library of Palosaurus cannot take it off, and the splash damage essentially from the fire breathing will kill the Daughter. The question is, does Kevin have the Brobnar cards in his hand to support a Brobnar turn? While that is a powerful turn, or a powerful one use out of Narp, it might not be enough to justify a whole Brobnar turn. Especially when he's so far behind. And Daniel ends his turn with 8 Amber, in check for his 2nd key.
Oh, wow.
Kevin probably... Kevin, so Mourningeate is totally out of Amber control at this point. It's just... Kevin has to go as fast as he can, or slow down by removing creatures. Alright, so fire breathing, because why not? Or sorry, not fire breathing, flamethrower, because why not? Stiltkin? Okay. Gengar Chieftain, oh cool. Stiltkin fights Daughter, pops the elusive, and the Gengar Chieftain trigger readies and fights Daughter again to remove it. Great. Alright, Daughter's off the board. Oh, interesting. Narp fights Dilophosaurus. Takes 3 damage because of the armor. I wonder why he... Oh, Cybernetic Rig. Okay. Fully heals it. Gains some power. I think it's strange. This feels a little strange. That one fight didn't... He didn't need... He could have gotten an extra rebound with Stiltkin, it feels like. But it's late, and I'm a couple days away removed and nice and fresh. So hopefully he can make up make that up somewhere else. Ends his turn with a, oh my gosh, +2 power, so 8 + 3, 13 power. Narp.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Daniel forges the second key.
That is good.
Recommended move.
No creatures on the board.
Great move, good job.
I don't think there's any Harbingers of Doom left in Mourningeate. Titan Guardian comes down. More Logos turn. Igor is going to find some stuff. He's already shuffled his deck once, it looks like. Zap. Discard Zap. Discard Scudam. Plays Titan Guardian number 2. Hologramophone. Makes sense. Who's due? Hologramophone number 1 goes on to a Titan Guardian on the flank. Great. This makes it easier for Kevin to remove the one that's not on the flank.
Alright,
So it makes it more likely for Dangle to draw some extra cards.
I'll go ahead and play...
Alright, Kevin forges his first key.
Alright, Fortress 6. I'll play Brobnar.
Alright, so what has he got now?
Gonna play
Goes back into
on
Brobnar.
that side.
Shorty.
I'm gonna do
Flamethrower pops
Flamethrower,
wards.
deal 1/1/1.
Pops wards, pops some armor, and puts 1 point of damage on the Igor.
Is that 13 power?
Looks at his 13 power. Looks at his 13 power Narp and flexes the Narp to gain half of that rounded down, if I believe right. If that card's right. So that'd be 6 amber. There we go. Goes into check from 1 card. Not bad.
He's good at this game. Good figure.
No, yeah.
He does miss out on the fight triggers, but that might be the biggest flex that deck can pull off.
Narp is exhausted.
Narp is exhausted.
Alright, so now it's up to Stiltkin and Gengar Chieftain to put on some more pressure. I think
I'll fight with Stiltkin.
Stiltkin fights to deal 1 damage
and
and
finish it off with Gengar Chieftain.
Gengar Chieftain trades. Okay. And that's it. Kevin goes and check for a second key. And it's up to Daniel what to do. Find 3 more ambers, basically all he has to do. Oh, Kevin is shuffling, so the Mustic Murmur can come back. So if Daniel can find 4 more amber, he's guaranteed a win. 3 is super likely.
I'm gonna go on.
He could, if he has like say 1 pip in Star Alliance and gets a lucky book onto Logos, he can reap twice, and that will be the 3 amber he needs at a minimum. Doesn't seem too difficult. He did just play a bunch of Logos. All right, here's Star Alliance number 1. All right, need some amber. One pip of amber, a zap, a lay of the land. Universal Translator. There we go. Goes up to 4. Chan. Stunner. Okay. 2 pips of amber. All right, great. So let's see. I don't know what's in his hand. I think he's trying to figure out if the book is a good idea.
If I get it wrong, I don't even draw, huh?
No.
Even if he misses on book. All right. Oh, okay. Why?
It's done.
Plays a
I don't
probably Ludo.
Book?
It's a 5 power creature
Okay, gotcha.
off of the Imperial Road and opts not to use book. Okay. Goes to 5. Gives Kevin an opportunity here to forge.
Very much so.
Kevin forges key 2.
I don't
And what can he do? He can reap 3 times with Brobnar,
I get the Fortress 6.
but he absolutely cannot allow. So basically, if Kevin has, it looks like he's, I see 2 Banes.
It's all about the memes, right?
Maybe just plowing through Dis and hoping to find Lilithal's, or just draw it. You need to play Lilithal's, clear the board, is about the best Kevin can hope for.
I'll go ahead and play Dis.
He cannot let Dangle gain any more amber, at least for free.
For the amber.
those Chans and the Universal Translators are going to make things too difficult. Play some Banes. Oh, Giant's Bane, I guess, takes out Shorty.
Play Dinosaur Bane.
Dinosaur Bane.
Destroy Perfectus Ludo.
Destroys a Ludo. Yep. Okay.
Pop the ward, sure, I'll take that.
Spider.
Spider.
I'm going to use Soul Fiddle to force Chan.
Alright, play Spider, forces Soul, enrages Chan. Chan now has to fight.
And
Chan does have still good targets to fight. Stiltkin is fine. Takes 2 damage, but the center will activate, and then the Chan ability will activate. But that's about the best that Kevin could hope for here. So,
Which card is he at? 8, 9.
oh, he'll lose this last one.
so now all Daniel has to do, he knows if he goes to 7, he's safe. There's pretty much nothing Kevin can do about it. So reaping in Logos or Star Alliance is about the same.
Shuffle that back in.
Yeah, there's no
He's gonna flex it again.
kooky way
Do it
to
again.
pull Daniel off of extra. Like, if there was a sneaky way he could play Mustic, Marmuk, and then a good book, 2 good books to play Loethal, and then a Gengar Chieftain. That's some real heart of the cards nonsense right there. I don't even know how he would kill his good books. Plays Diplomacy, gains 1, goes up to 6. Plays Failing Strike, goes up to 7.
So I'm gonna do 4 here.
Deals 4 damage to Narp, or 3 due to the armor. He's going to exalt a creature because he has library. It doesn't matter. Goes up to 7 damage.
That thing is too good.
And chant to interesting.
Oh, I just realized something.
Moves the amber to
No.
I just
spider.
thought about
Okay.
that.
I saw it was like 3 turns ago.
That's
And ends his turn at 7.
just with a
Goes over to Kevin.
Yeah, I can't stop you.
And that should do it.
I can flex.
Flexes one more time. Oh, just a turn late. Could have flexed the Narp for 6 more amber. But that's it. Game basically as predicted, everything falling underneath Daniel's plans. Goes to game 3 and time to bid some chains. So that game basically only felt close because of the 6 amber flex. If that didn't happen, and that's a lot of stars aligning nonsense right there. So how many chains do we need to bid here to even things out? I'm not sure what the correct answer here is, obviously. No one really does. But, so this is super close. 2 keys to 2 keys. This might be one of the closest game 2s Daniel's probably played all tournament. So how do you pull this out? Or if you're... So there's a bunch of card draw. And there's a bunch of card draw in Doctor and Minawave. That's obviously going to add a bunch more chains that you can start at to begin with, period. Other things to consider are the punctuated equilibrium is going to help whoever has Minawave through the chains faster. While you might be able to set up some combos or whatever, it doesn't feel like Minawave is really dependent on doing like Cybernetic Rig, Fire Breathing, Narp. So I don't think the punctuated equilibrium is very disruptive. For the most part, it's just going to remove chains. So that's something to consider. Volcano is also in Mourningeate is going to reduce the chains between the two. It's 2 chains basically added to Dingle's deck eventually. So I think we're starting at least 2 chains. It would be kind of like, well, I mean, I guess they played with it, so this doesn't really affect the math. So what do we gotta do next? Game 1 was a total blowout. Game 2 was only closed because of a weird 3-card combo, which should never be expected to happen again. So I think we're better off looking at what happened in Game 1. That's especially true if Daniel winds up with Mourningeate, because both players, I think, players should add a little bit of advantage to playing their own deck. So the game's going to be a little bit closer. Game 2 should obviously be a little closer because both players are playing less optimally. So that's also something to consider on who's getting the deck. Who's going first is also important to consider. Add a couple chains there. So I think we're starting off at least 10 chains. Like that's just a good bare minimum to start with.
Wow, and it's always close when you're playing it.
And yeah.
That's what's making me question everything.
So what we got?
It's like I told you, whenever I play your deck, I'm like getting 2s, 1s, or just not the crazy draws.
Okay. So next,
Okay,
here we go. Kevin's about to start the bidding, or Kevin bids for 0. Start with, and then bidding goes over to Daniel. What does Daniel start with? Does he need? I think Daniel has a bit of a strategy of just keep bidding low and forcing the make.
So I start 0.
All right, here we go. 0 chains to Kevin. 3 chains Daniel bids right away. Kevin contemplates a bit. All right, Kevin goes to 6. Try and force Daniel to take a 2 card penalty. All right, goes to 9. Kevin thinks about this for a minute. Goes to 12 chains. All right, there you go. Sounds good. That's forcing Daniel to take a 3 card penalty. If he goes up higher. All right, this might be the end of what Daniel's willing to accept. 13 chains. Is Kevin willing to accept 13 chains? Has he ever played this deck with that many chains? This is what some people talk about, trying to play your deck, get to know with how many chains does it still function at. He decides it can't, it doesn't. That's too much, and we're gonna give it over to Daniel.
I'm gonna give that shit.
All right.
All I know is
Time to shuffle up and let game 3 start.
If you wanna go and cut it after, go for it.
Go for it.
Cause man,
Is that 13, right?
13.
Let's see. So
13 chains.
is 13 chains enough? That's the question of the day. This will be a big deciding factor in whether or not Kevin gets the prime invite, or sorry, the world invite, or does Daniel get the invite.
Not so much in that shit. Honestly, because if I give it to him for 12, he's just gonna be like, oh, really cool. By the time I hit turn 2, he's still on 11 because he has like a bajillion cards.
Alright, so a little bit of discussion about chain bidding strategy.
Oh man.
There is some merit to after going to like to only basically bidding on 6, 12, and 18. Unless you think the midpoint or the breaking point is somewhere in the middle there. By bidding somewhere in the middle, like the 9 chain bid, it gives your opponent the ability to push it to the next tier, or right the 1 step below the next tier, right? So 12. And then if you actually wanted the deck and you have to take it back, you now have to take it back for -1 extra card. In a sense. So
He's just giving me the 4 best cards.
unless you're really unless you're comfortable in that tier, or you think there's going to be a lot of like 1 chain, 2 chain, like I bid 1, then you bid 2, then I bid 3, kind of style bidding. Generally, it's better just to push it up to those tier limits.
Yeah, look at this guy. Where is it? 4 whole cards. So
You don't want to give your opponent an opportunity to put you in the uncomfortable spot where you have to take extra cards.
if I could just get like a wormhole and
Okay,
be like,
so
then I'm awesome.
we're now presented their decks to each other. Decks have been cut. Kevin is once again on Mourningeate of the Malcontent Chaos, and Daniel is on Dr. N Minawave. Good luck, handshake, see what happens.
I almost definitely need it.
Alright, there is a Harbinger of Doom, and looks like a good book, and punctuate. Is that a punctuate equilibrium? Yes, it is.
Let's go there. Gonna draw.
Oops. Oh, okay. CXO. Strong start.
I would get 6 minus.
I think there is a Draining Touch and the Mustic Murloc. I think that might be about all of out-of-hand actions, out-of-hand removal that can touch CXO in this, or there's also Volcano, but Volcano is a little extreme. Although that CXO does represent a lot of card advantage. Alright, good book. Punctuate Equilibrium. Great. So there we go. This
So I would draw 4.
And you lose a chain.
So Daniel starts at 12 chains and now he's going down to 11 chains right here thanks to the Punctuate Equilibrium. He did lose an Eddy. I'm not sure how relevant that is. Minawave, sorry, not Mourningeate, has the ability to do things. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Regrowth, one of the cards that got discarded. Plays Mustic. Mustic kills tappers. Cool. Cauldron Boil, gains some more amber. Good stuff. Not a bad turn.
Ready?
But yeah, so I was saying, I don't think Eddy's that significant. Mourningeate has a lot of creatures, has a lot of ability to fight its way into Eddies. So it didn't feel that impactful the last couple games. I think it cost Kevin, or it cost Daniel 1 amber in game 1. That might be about it, all the work it did. Alright, Stunner comes down on the Kincan. Probably going to steal one here.
Alright, I'll play
Unless
Untamed.
Kevin goes back into Untamed. Alright, he does. He looks like he has a nice... This Punctuated Equilibrium has drawn him a good number of cards and kept him in Untamed for a good number of turns. Reaps twice, goes to 4. Yeah, it's just doing his best to race Daniel here.
Pass turn, draw 2 cards.
If he could get to 6, that would be great. That's definitely what he wants to do. The Tintadlin is actually an interesting... Also has interesting interactions with Eddy in the fact that it gets to remove cards from your opponent's archives. But again, the Eddy's gone. Archiving is not that big of a thing in Minawave. Or sorry, Minawave. Wow. Just mixing up all my deck names. Regrettable Meteor kills the Tintadlins. Chant of Hubris gains an extra amber. Alright, so Daniel's done a good job slowing down his deck, or Mourningeate. And it's over to Kevin once again. This Mustic actually might be hurting Kevin here in this game. Actually, no, I take that back. Daniel's still far ahead on the amber counts here. I think, Untamed once again. Cannot put fight. Okay, removes the Kincan. Takes 2 damage onto Kabuk. Ends his turn. Basically, he decides here that he cannot let Daniel get a key. If he picked another house, Daniel would have stolen one and put him at 6 and just forged. Or no, that's not true. There was the Mustic Marmokite. I think he might have missed that.
I'm still only going to roll 1.
Kowtow Vapors, Daughter, Titan Guardian, Hologramophone. Just this is the power of Logos, even under chains. He's still playing 3 or 4 cards a turn.
Yeah.
He's running really low on chains here. So over to Kevin. What can Kevin do? Alright, so Kevin calls Brobnar. Narp. Calfine. Discards, I assume, Volcano. The Volcano would pick off the Daughter. It would pick off the Mustic, which would allow Daniel to forge here. He's trying to decide. Well, it looks like a barn raising. He might be trying to decide to hold on to. Which I might have forgotten about his amber control. No, yeah, barn raising is amber control. It's the World's Collide version. Yeah, that is a barn raising there. Okay. Molfin is interesting. Daughter number 2 comes down. Alright, so Daniel basically is drawing, I think, +1 cards this time. 7 cards a turn now. Wards a Daughter. Reaps twice. Goes up to 8. Sorry, goes up to 9. If I have 10 chains and I have the train leaving at 9 o'clock, how many cards do I draw? bit of math. +2 daughters is +2 cards. Chains I think right now might be -1 card, so he should be up at 7 cards. Shows a chain. Alright, actually now it looks like he's entering into the -1 card territory, so he should be at 6 cards in hand. 1 card in his archive. And follow every turn with both these daughters out, he'll be at 7 cards in hand.
Check with 9.
Alright, Soulfill comes down. Spider plus not finished with you. I'm not sure if that's getting back anything. Harbinger might be an interesting choice, but he's got another Harbinger to discard. Okay. Alright, let's Dangle Forge for 7. Didn't have too many good fights there.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6.
Hey, wait, Rob and
Alright, so back over to Daniel. Forges for 7, gets his first key. It's almost out of chains. The deck is about to pop off. What can he do here? Reap for 3 sounds reasonable. Ward everything up. You're far enough ahead. Delta wise, he's still up by 1, so we can still just, if everyone just reaps forever, it's still Daniel's game. Plus the extra cards in his hand should be making it a lot easier to just call logos every turn. Alright, fluxes 5s and 4s.
Then on draw 2 for the discharge.
I'll use the Bucks effect.
The Book's effect happens. Plays a Stiltkin. Not a bad creature to have next to an ARP.
got it back, played it again.
Book of IEQ comes down, puts a universal translator on the daughter.
Every time.
Goes up to 3 amber for this
All I
turn.
had left in the deck was like 8 or 9 cards. So I was able to constantly cycle.
Sorry, I forget her
few
name.
things that I needed.
Garcia with a
And that's it.
quadricorder, I imagine,
The boys did.
up there at the top.
Of course. It made the most
So
sense.
what can Kevin do about this nonsense?
There's 1, so we got 8, 7 cards, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Draws up to 7 cards,
Shut chain.
down to 5 chains. He's also out of ways to recur the Mustic Murmuk, so Daniel will always be able to forge for 6 now going forward. He just needs to keep his amber. So Lilithal's and the... Oh, there's the Exhume. I forgot about that. What looks like a handful of discards. He might not necessarily want to... Actually, the Exhume sounds pretty good. It could probably pop a daughter. Might be more important than popping a ward. Giant's Bane. Kills Narp. It's only giant on the board. Gains 1. Exhume.
But it was just phenomenal.
Probably Mustic the daughter is what I would be thinking. But Garcia sounds reasonable. It is adding a lot of increase in the key. It could potentially increase the key cost by 3 as it stands, or sorry, by 2. Sorry, by 4 as it stands. Enrages the daughter with the ward on it. Spider reaps. Goes to 7.
Shall I move that for you? I want to know
Alright.
what it feels like.
7.
So Daniel's still nicely ahead in terms of Delta and drawing more cards now. And he has lots of permanents on board, double hologramophone and library and book. So no matter what house he goes into, he basically gets at least 1 action he can take if he likes. While Kevin is kind of stuck to dis for the most optimal number of things to do without resorting to cards in hand. Plays Imperial Road, discards Diplomacy, Dilophosaurus, Ludo, and a Scutum on the Dilophosaurus. Goes up to 4 amber. Chant for 1 extra. Goes up to 5. And that's passes. Draws up to 7 because he still has both of his daughters. Kevin needs to find a way to get rid of these daughters. Let's see, Cauldron Boil.
Fortress 7.
Excuse me. Cauldron Boil could do some work if he had the flamethrower out. That flamethrower really probably does a lot of work with Cauldron Boils. Without that, he's staring at his Untamed. He did get to forge his first key here.
Play Untamed.
Molfin comes down.
Do your eyes always look that red, or just when you're absolutely dead tired?
And Deepwood Druid comes down, just puts it out there. Seems like a good spot. Good enough spot for me. Next to some of the bigger creatures on the board. Might actually be able to get its effect. I think it's Play Reap. Play Reap, heal the creature. Fights. Interesting. Cauldron Boil to boil the Dilophosaurus. And ends his turn. Alright, so I think we're just looking at the Barn Raising and the Lilithals left for Amber Control. Gengar Chieftain is going to be big, along with the Cybernetic Rig. Cybergenic Rig? I should look up that card. Anyways, back to Logos. Twin Bolt puts 2 damage onto the Molfin, and 2 damage on the Stiltkin is huge. Kevin is oh no, not on the Stiltkin, he misses. Goes for a Deepwood Druid. Interesting. It's like he's trying to play around the second Cauldron Boil. Daughter fights the spider, removes the spider, pops its ward. Wild Wormhole goes up to 7, plays the Scutum. Maybe put the Scutum. Alright, just put some more armor, make it more difficult. Sounds good. Goes up to 8 amber. Sorry, yeah, 8 amber. And a Titan Guardian and something else up there at the top. Plus an Igor. Oh boy, this is a... Oh, misses. Maybe his deck's empty. Unfortunately.
He's a non-friendly Starlands creature. This guy's gonna go and fight.
Reaps with the... Sorry, Reaps with the Daughter there to allow with the Universal Translator to use another creature. I'll use a non-Starlands creature, which lets him reap with, or sorry, fight with Ludo and remove the Deepwood Druid.
I'm gonna draw.
Interesting enough, leaves the Stiltkin open for Gengar Chieftain, if that were to happen. Maybe he's not considering that. He is going to check with 9 Amber for his second key.
Oh, AJ Empire. Yeah, AJ Empire. Yeah. I'm barely learning how to make.
Alright, so Kevin is now sitting on a fistful of Brobnar cards. Gengar Chieftain, flex. He could flex, it doesn't really matter. Flex the Stiltkin for 1 and then Gengar Chieftain fight it a bunch of times, but Barn. Okay, so what's the most optimal way to remove Amber from Dangle is basically fight Ludo, fight Igor with Barn Raising. But also, probably don't want to fight the Molfin.
Brobnar.
Alright, Barn Raising.
Start with Barn Raising.
Oh, interesting. Cybernetic Rig the Molfin, and then Gengar Chieftain that, just to have a bigger creature it could fight. I don't see it popping, killing anything that significant. Guardian is about it.
Fight Stiltkin.
Stiltkin fights Ludo.
Fights Ludo. Use 1.
Gengar Chieftain. Stiltkin fight
Ready.
Igor.
Fight Igor.
Loses another one.
Lose 1. Ready him again. And
Goes down to 8. Goes down to 7 Amber.
What might call you one of the kings of steel?
here to deal 1 damage. And you
Fights Guardian.
So
Takes 2 damage.
you were at how many? 10?
I was at 10, so I should be now at.
But takes 1 to do the armor.
7? Yeah. Last 3.
Puts the rig on Molfin, probably. It's the only creature with damage on it to gain a benefit. There you go. Convert those damage counters into power counters, and he's going to lose 1 at the end of the turn. It's a 4 power Molfin, but gains some Amber. Trying his best to stay in this game. But Daniel here is going to forge his second key at the end of this turn. Stares at this flex, discards it.
You're playing on two different boards.
He's probably thinking about long and hard about, do I hold on to this one? But he spent a lot of time holding on to Brobnar cards. And all he really gained for it was -2 amber. Now here's the fire breathing.
You're playing on both, but the newer expansion has two different sides. So yeah.
And that's about it. Alright, so what can Daniel do here? Alright, he goes back into Lotus, because why not? Draws 2 cards. Archives 1. He can reap for 3, 4. I'm counting the Universal Translator extra as an extra reap that will pull him to 5. If he has something like a Twin Bolt, he can go to 6. Alright, Imperial Roads plays a Centurion. It captures 1. Reaps with a creature up there. Reaps with a daughter. Is that 3? He has 2 more, goes to 5. He really just wants anything with an Amber Pip on it. That would pretty much end the game.
This one can fight here.
Alright, fight still can. Okay. Reaps with Guardian. Alright, so he probably can't get the check here. Fights Guardian, draws some cards. Hologram phone, the daughter, and the Igor, I guess? Maybe the Centurion. Yeah, okay, Centurion. Makes sense. Hold on to that Amber, just make it really hard for Mourningeate to actually get back into this game.
That's it. I don't shut any chains.
And that seems like the end of his turn. Loses the chain.
Brobnar.
Kevin plays Brobnar. Shorty puts a fire breath on it. Flamethrower way too late. Needed that a lot earlier.
3, 4, 5.
We're back to Daniel. Alright, Daniel reaps for 3, he goes to 6. He probably won't do that. He probably is going to go into something else. He ran out of Logos cards the last game, or last turn. I don't think he drew anything new. He does have Book, could do good work for him. It's probably unlikely to have more Starlights on his deck. Maybe? I don't know.
I'm gonna do Star.
Alright, he does go into Starlines. Plays something up there.
Yep.
Stares his board carefully, tries to figure out his next play. How does he get to 6 or 7? Oh, Flux. Okay, that makes sense. Blows up 6s and 4s. Okay. Nice. Pops his own ward, doesn't lose anything. Puts an upgrade on something. And then a King Can. And Tabers. Alright, just deploying a huge field of creatures. If he doesn't go to 6 here, I think Kevin would be fairly happy if he can just get a Harbinger of Doom out. Ideally, a Harbinger of Doom plus Draining Touch would be ideally what he needs right now. Volcano could also do some work, but he's probably out of Brobnar cards. He can't call Brobnar for at least another 2 turns. Dinosaur Bane, nice. Gets his Amber back. Gets rid of the Centurion. Draining Touch. Ooh, no. Touches something up there. And it was a Sensor Chief. And both the Lilithals are out. Okay. Tabers has to fight on its next turn. Alright, so both Lilithals are out. He does have maximum Amber control at the moment. And Daniel doesn't really have good ways to remove it on the board. But he will get there over time. And that's definitely what Dr. and Minawave is aiming for here. It should definitely win a long game. Also wins a short game. But now that I think it's out of chains. Or no, 2 chains left. It's not quite yet at full power, but those $2 have been on this board. This game been out this whole time. I don't know how Kevin is even still in this game. He's done a great job. Failing strike. Great. Always happy. The failing strike pops. There we go. There you go. That's the best answer for it. Huge board, failing strike. Interesting to put the exalted amber on the Philophosaurus instead of one of the daughters the daughter with the Scutum. He keeps interesting. Chant of Hubris to move it to the Molfin. He could have just easily used the library of Palosaurus there to collect that amber. And then puts a Scutum on the Philophosaurus. I don't see Daniel finding more of a way to get there, but I think Kevin's out of answers now. That is probably just game regardless of what happens. Punctuate Equilibrium might pull Kevin back in somehow. I don't really see how, but probably has to try. Key Charge is something he could aim for, maybe. I don't think there's enough printed amber. There's 2 Cauldron Boils and the Regrowth. Plus Key Charge could get Kevin to Key 2, I think.
He loses.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you weren't drawing him.
So then I'll discard everything, draw 3, and then I'll shuffle the rest.
Yep. It is.
Oh, as if it's the end of your turn.
All right. So what did Kevin draw here? He's checking the discard pile for what? No key. I didn't see any Key Charge. I actually don't see almost any untamed cards. So this could have been a really big draw. Mustic is probably almost required here. I was checking his discard pile for the Regrowth.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Reap here.
Reaps with Molfin.
The Cauldron Boy for the amber. The Regrowth.
Cauldron Boil Regrowth goes up to 8.
Get back.
And gets back a Lilithal. Tentatalin. And good game. That's it. Kevin did his best. Congratulations, Daniel, on winning the GMI Adaptive Prime Championship. Your reversal deck strategy 100% paid off. I'm so glad to see this have happened. You played it extremely well. You definitely gave us all a run for our money with a unique approach. Good job, Kevin. You played an excellent game. You made it to the finals. Glad to see. I'm glad to know that you'll be making the Worlds through other means. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Please be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons so you get notified when new stuff comes out. I should have the next Prime Championships, which were sealed, coming out next week. Please be on the lookout for that. It's from Geeky Tees. Sorry, I should once again thank GMI Games for hosting this event. It was very nice of them to run an adaptive tournament. I'm always happy to play this format. It's one of my favorites. And it takes forever to do, but oh my god, it's so much fun. Anyways, thank you once again, and have a good night.